The Echo of the Forgotten House. It was a cold and overcast day when Clara Matthews received the letter. The handwriting was unfamiliar, and the envelope, though pristine, had a sense of weight about it. She sat at her kitchen table, the morning sun attempting to break through the clouds, casting weak rays on the crumpled paper. The letter inside was brief but compelling. Dear Clara, I am writing to you with a matter of great urgency. There is something you must know about your family's past, something that has been hidden for generations. Please come to the old house on Ashford Hill at once. It's time you learned the truth. Sincerely, J.M. Clara felt a chill crawl up her spine. She had heard stories about the old Ashford house, an abandoned mansion on the outskirts of town, shrouded in rumors and mystery. It was said to be haunted, but Clara had always dismissed it as folklore. Why would someone now be contacting her about it? Without much thought, Clara grabbed her jacket and headed out the door. Her mind buzzed with questions, but no answers seemed clear. The address written on the letter was unfamiliar, but with only one house atop Ashford Hill, there was no mistaking where she had to go. The path to the hill was overgrown and winding, with trees that seemed to watch her as she approached the mansion. The house loomed in the distance, its dark windows like empty eyes staring into her soul. Clara could feel her heart thumping in her chest, though she couldn't pinpoint why. She wasn't afraid, not yet, but she was definitely unsettled. The house was more imposing up close. Its Victorian architecture was both grand and decaying, the paint chipped, and the roof sagging in places. The front door, made of heavy oak, creaked open when Clara gave it a gentle push. The silence inside was overwhelming, as if the house had been waiting for her. Hello, she called into the vast emptiness. Her voice echoed down long hallways, but no response came. Stepping inside, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched, but there was no one there. She wandered through the main hall, her footsteps muffled by the thick carpet. Portraits of stern-looking ancestors lined the walls, their eyes following her every movement. Clara's skin prickled as she glanced at each face, noticing something strange. The eyes in the portraits seemed almost alive, as if they knew something she didn't. Then, in the corner of the hallway, something caught her eye. A narrow door, almost hidden behind a tapestry, stood ajar. Clara hesitated, but curiosity won out. She pushed the door open and found herself in a small, dimly lit room filled with dust-covered bookshelves and an old desk. At the center of the room was a large chest, its brass lock tarnished with age. On top of the chest lay a letter. It looked like an older version of the one she had received earlier. Clara's heart raced as she read the familiar handwriting. Clara, you've finally come. It's been too long. But now you must know. Your family's legacy is not what you've been told. Your true inheritance lies hidden within the walls of this house. The key is in your blood, but only if you can unlock the secrets that lie beneath. J.M. Before Clara could fully process the letter, a loud bang came from upstairs. Her heart skipped a beat. Slowly, she turned toward the staircase. A shadow seemed to move at the top, but there was no one there. Driven by a mixture of fear and determination, Clara crept up the stairs. As she reached the landing, she saw a faint glow emanating from beneath a door at the end of the hallway. Her instinct screamed at her to turn back, but she couldn't. She was drawn to it. Pushing the door open, Clara was confronted by a sight that made her blood run cold. In the center of the room stood a large mirror, its frame intricately carved with symbols she didn't recognize. But what truly horrified her was the reflection in the glass, an older version of herself, standing motionless, staring back at her with eyes full of sorrow. Before she could move, the door slammed shut behind her, trapping her inside. The reflection in the mirror began to change, shifting into a scene she couldn't understand. Her ancestors, some she recognized from the portraits downstairs, stood in a circle, chanting in a language that was both foreign and familiar at once. As they chanted, a dark figure emerged from the shadows, its eyes glowing with an unnatural light. Clara's breathing quickened as the vision intensified. The figure reached out to her reflection, and in that moment, Clara understood the truth. The house wasn't haunted by ghosts, it was a prison, a trap designed to keep a dark secret buried for generations. Her family had been the custodians of something ancient, something malevolent, and it was waiting for her to release it. The letter, the mysterious JM, all of it had been part of the plan. Just as the dark figure in the mirror reached out toward her, the door burst open, and a figure stepped into the room. "Clara, you shouldn't have come here," the person said, their voice trembling with fear. It was James, her cousin. But Clara hadn't seen him in years. "James? What's happening? What's in this house?" James stepped closer, his face pale. "You don't understand. We've been trying to stop it. But it's too late now." Clara's pulse raced. "What are you talking about? What do you mean stop it?" He looked down, his hands shaking. "The thing in the mirror. It's not just a spirit. It's a curse. And we've been bound to it for generations. Every heir of the Matthews family, every one of us, has been marked. But now that you're here, it's already too late." Clara's mind spun. She looked at the mirror again. Her reflection smiled back at her, its eyes now filled with an unholy satisfaction. You were the one writing the letters," she whispered. James looked horrified, but nodded. "I tried to warn you. I thought maybe you could stop it. But now it has you, too." The ground beneath her feet trembled as the mirror cracked, and the room filled with a deafening roar. In that moment, Clara realized the twist of fate she had walked into. The mansion, the curse, her bloodline, all of it had led her here, to the one place where she would become part of something far greater and far darker than she could have ever imagined. And as the darkness consumed the room, Clara's final thought was clear. The house had never been haunted by ghosts, it had always been waiting for her.